Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about the AEW Dynamite January 8th, 2025 review. This show sucked. It was a bore fest for 2 fucking hours. Kenny Omega was about the only thing that was entertaining and worth watching. We had a fucking casino battle royale that had Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, win the match to be granted a number one contenders match against Jon Moxley for the world title next week. We're not even getting a build going into Revolution. The matches sucked. They were boring. Nothing really exciting happened on this show. I didn't care for this show at all. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know how much longer I'm doing these reviews. Buddy Matthews, Will Ospreay match. That was a good opener to the show. I enjoyed that match. That was fun. But honestly, guys, I didn't care for this show. Bobby Lashley faced Mark Briscoe. I was falling asleep. I mean, literally, I was falling asleep watching this show. I had to look at my phone just to keep me awake. This is pathetic. So Buddy Matthews faced Will Ospreay in a one-on-one match. Great matchup. Really no major story behind it. After the match was over, Will Ospreay gets on the microphone as he gives his respect to Buddy Matthews for a hard-fought match. He says that Buddy and Brody are very tough competitors who don't need to be following anyone, adding that Matthews could chase tag team or even singles gold. He hopes this isn't the last time they meet, but if Buddy ever needs a man in his corner, Will is his guy. The pair shake hands before Ospreay leaves the ring as we cut to a video package showcasing AEW talent in Japan for Wrestle Dynasty. Next we had Private Party make their way to the stage to celebrate retaining the tag team titles on Collision that nobody fucking cares about. They say this calls for a celebration, but are interrupted by Hurt Syndicate. MVP wants the Syndicate to join in the celebration, raising a toast to the tag team champions, with Bobby Lashley saying this is for the Hurt Syndicate taking those tag team titles. So they're already showing interest in the tag team titles. With that, their music hits again as Bobby Lashley makes his way to the ring for our next match. Out next is Mark Briscoe heading down the ramp before this match gets underway. Bobby Lashley versus Mark Briscoe takes place. I said that I fell asleep during this match. This match wasn't terrible, but I'll be honest, this show was not great. I honestly don't. I honestly didn't care for this show at all. I was bored out of my mind. Bobby Lashley won by submission. Obviously, Mark Briscoe was going to lose. Lashley holds onto it a little longer before letting go with the submission hold with the Almighty, with MVP raising his arms in victory. But Lashley and Shelton go back on the attack. Private Party come running down the ramp with chairs in hand to make the save, and the Hurt Syndicate reluctantly leave the ring with the champ's music playing as we go to break. Commercial break. Back at ringside, it's time for the Casino Gauntlet match to determine the number one contender. We had Wheeler Yuta, Ricochet, all these other fucking names. Jay White and Hangman Page started the match off. And neither one of these two were even crowned the number one contender. Maybe for obvious reasons. They didn't want to utilize them for a lousy fucking piece of shit Dynamite episode next week. And obviously the winner of that match is going to have the unfortunate job of jobbing out to Jon Moxley. And, yeah, so Will Hobbs ends up winning this match. Whoop-de-fucky-do for him. He wins. Great. Wonderful. I honestly had no fucking care in the world for this shit. I don't even know why I'm on here reviewing this with you guys. This was a fucking piss poor, boring ass show with a little bit of good matches, and the rest of it was just fucking boredom beyond recognition. I spent most of my time looking at my tablet or my phone, and that's all I was doing most of the time. Just to stay awake, because the show was fucking boring as hell. We got a Raw episode 2 nights ago that, yes, had some logic gaps messed up, which I didn't really address because I thought the presentation, the matches, and everything else in between was acceptable. And that was exciting. The matches were exciting. They say they're the best, we're the best wrestles. I don't know about that. Because I felt more excitement watching Monday Night Raw on Netflix this past Monday than I did watching this show. And they're all about pro wrestling. They're not about story. We didn't get hardly any major stories being developed on Monday Night Raw. And Raw was still a better show. Take away all the hype of the first ever episode. You just take the matches that they put on for us to watch for 3 whole hours, and it was more entertaining than this shit for 2. They don't even try. They're just there filling in time, doing what Vince McMahon used to do. Only difference is they don't make fun of their audience. That's the only difference between what Vince McMahon's creative did and what Tony Khan's creative is doing. Tony Khan is very basic, bland, and boring as shit. I honestly don't know if I'm going to continue to keep doing these reviews. I may keep keep watching to see if anything improves, because I don't think AEW deserves me boycotting them completely because of the fact that they're not making fun of their audience or anything. I just feel like they're kind of failing in being creative and entertaining to the audience as a whole. And I'm not going to shit on them for that. Vince McMahon deliberately made fun of his audience and shit all over them while taking their money. I don't see Tony Khan doing that. At least not yet, anyway. But this was not a good show. I didn't find anything entertaining. And, you know, if you want to come at me and start saying, oh, well, you're comparing a Monday Night Raw episode for the first time ever on Netflix, and they were going balls to the wall and doing everything possible to make it entertaining for an audience, well, you know what? I don't... They did nothing but wrestle. They didn't give a story in that episode at all, and it was more entertaining than what we got here tonight. This show was night and day to Netflix when it came to the wrestling category. I'm not even talking about presentation, the overhyped, Raw episode we got. I'm just talking about pure wrestling content. What we got was shit here tonight. I don't think that they were really trying to give us a great show, wrestling-wise. We're talking about wrestling here, not even storyline telling. I'm talking about pure wrestling. This was shit. I just was fucking bored out of my mind. It's the same old garbage. Jeff Jarrett, he ended up being... I can't believe they're actually trying to fucking hype him. They used MJF tonight to go ahead and have MJF give services to Jeff Jarrett so that he could eventually become the world champion and MJF could get first cracks at challenging for the world title. This is the avenue we got MJF going on. Why didn't we have MJF just come in the ring and, slingshot pile drive fucking Jeff Jarrett into the mat with his skull? Why didn't we get that instead? And then tell the trainers to get his sorry ass out of his ring and cut his own fucking promo and move on with this bullshit. Jeff Jarrett chasing after a fucking world title. This guy's, I mean, come on, man. Sitting here wasting MJF's time cutting a promo with Jeff Jarrett, who's had more title reigns outside of fucking Triple H, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and all these other fucking major names, and John Cena. I mean, Jeff Jarrett's had a shitload of fucking WWE World Championship runs in different promotions. WCW, TNA, he even ran the fucking TNA promotion and went ahead and marked himself as a TNA World Champion when they were ran under NWA. I mean, this guy has got tons of reigns as World Champion. He needs to have another one in a major promotion like this at the age he's at? Give me a fucking break, man. We don't need a story about Jeff Jarrett getting his big hoorah. Very interesting how this is all of a sudden introduced when we got John Cena on his last hoorah run for a whole year, trying to chase after number 17 while also trying to capture his first win as a singles competitor. Very interesting how that occurs. With Jeff Jarrett all of a sudden doing the exact same thing, wanting to hunt down for his last run with a world championship before he retires. I don't think anybody's fucking talking about that and how coincidental that must be. Or is it? Is it just Tony Khan fucking ripping off WWE because they got a legend superstar? So, well, we got a legend superstar like Jeff Jarrett and John Cena's coming back to do one more year run and possibly win his 17th world title reign. So why can't we do the same? What a fucking dumbass. If that's the case, anyway. Maybe I'm completely off the rails here. But I'll be honest. I don't care. I don't want to see Jeff Jarrett on my TV. Jeff Jarrett has done everything you could possibly ask him to do in pro wrestling. He doesn't need to be in AEW. He don't. He could do stuff backstage. He could work with the young talent. He could do creative booking decisions. He can even go ahead and book the matches the way he sees fit. Meaning like how the match orchestrates throughout the entire match. And do that. He could produce the matches. He could be a producer for matches. He could do that even. And yet, that's not what he's doing. He's standing in the middle of the ring with a guy like MJF who should be fucking the front and center of AEW. He should be the one wanting to defend the company that he works for, he signed for 4 or 5 more years or whatever contract length that he's on with AEW. He's got a fucking tattoo on the back of his ankle of AEW for life. I mean, come on, man. This is idiotic. You got a tattoo of AEW on the back of your ankle, and then you're walking around acting like you don't give a fuck about some guy coming in there who's a former WWE superstar, acting like he knows what's best for AEW, when you're the guy who's a guy that was made in AEW as a star and everything else in between, and yet you're sitting there wanting to give services to Jeff Jarrett? I mean, this is idiotic. I thought the promo was good, but I thought the whole fucking concept behind it was absolutely retarded. I really did not think that this was even worth anyone's fucking time. After the match was over, Will Hobbs was interviewed by Renee Paquette. He told her that he's going to beat Moxley and make him his bitch. Wow, big fucking whoop-de-doo. They go ahead and they start talking to Jeff Jarrett as well. Don't really fucking care to reiterate what was said verbatim. When we make it back from the break, we are reminded of the Death Riders attacking Darby Allin to close out the final episode of Rampage. The update is that no one has heard from Darby since, as we head back to ringside for the arrival of Adam Copeland, or as he's known as Rated R Superstar Cope. That doesn't even sound right to me. Calling him Cope. How about this? Cope with the middle finger. How about that? Rated R Superstar Cope. Why don't you just call yourself Mr. Dope? This is so fucking dumb. They don't call him Adam Copeland anymore. They mentioned his first and last name verbatim, but they said he wants to go AKA Cope instead of being known as Adam Copeland. Whatever. Honestly, I honestly don't care. He had a nice breakdown in his promo. I liked it. I'll go over it with you guys. We look back at the collision as Adam Copeland heads to the ring, microphone in hand. Copeland addresses what Moxley did to Darby to close out 2024, as well as Death Riders coming after FTR, which he calls a massive mistake. And the reason being is because they're his best friends. He then brings up Moxley's remarks about the guys in AEW not having what it takes to handle the grind, stating that no one has fought as much as Copeland has in this ring. He is a different animal entirely, a man that broke his neck in a match with Eddie Guerrero in 2002, and he got up, wrestled another 20 minutes, and beat Eddie Guerrero. When he broke his leg in the match against Malachi Black, he got up and wrestled another 10 minutes to beat Malachi Black, and he asked Mox what the world champion can do to Copeland that hasn't already been done before. We may find out the answer as Moxley's music hits. Moxley, Claudio, and Yuta are the first three to come in to attack. And the trio, Cope's staring the trio down as the Death Riders, Sainz, Pac, and Marina head toward ringside, only for FTR to blindside them. The brawl continues until we see Copeland and Mox in the ring, with the Rated R Superstar looking to lay out the champ until Marina comes running down, and Copeland stops her from an attack, which opens him up to a sneak attack by Pac with the briefcase containing the world title. The rest of the group joins in to go after Copeland, laying into him before pulling out a plastic bag, but here comes the powerhouse Hobbs, and there you go. The number one contender heads to the ring, forcing the Death Riders to make their escape as they stare down the man facing Mox next week for the world title. Well, there you go. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. Back from break, we hear from Mariah May, who encourages the women in next week's Casino Gauntlet to dance like the marionettes that they are before she beats whoever wins the number one contendership. This brings out Harley Cameron, who challenges May to a non-title match that May accepts, offering Hot Girl graps at Collision. Not that I really give a flying fuck about this. Next, we have a three-way match for the number one spot in the women's gauntlet at Maximum Carnage Dynamite. The winner of this match was Chris Statlander. She ends up winning the match. I didn't really pay much attention to this match. I can't even really give you an exact opinion of what I thought about it because I didn't care. I didn't give a shit to see a triple threat match. So, whatever. So, the last thing was Kenny Omega making his return. He states that he gave us a rundown about his health condition that occurred last year and so forth and what he went through. He was told that he may not ever be able to wrestle again, and he felt that if he couldn't wrestle, he didn't have no purpose of living. Like, he didn't have a purpose in this life unless he's wrestling in front of that crowd and connecting with them, because this is what he enjoys to do. This is his livelihood. This is what he does for a living. He says that he won't be able to perform at the same level he used to, but he will be able to perform, and he will be a different Kenny Omega than what he used to be. And he said he'll give his all no matter what his ability is in the ring to begin with. From there, he pretty much was interrupted by Don Callis. Why are we going back to Don Callis and Kenny Omega again? I mean, this whole thing kind of just doesn't matter at this point. I don't quite understand the fucking point of this, but this was absolutely stupid to revert back to this. I guess it's to give Don Callis something to do, and they have previous history with each other in 2023, so I guess that makes a little sense if you want to make excuses or rhyme and a reason for why this is occurring. But yeah, trying to think. So Don Callis tried to say something. Kenny Omega came down, attacked him, and then the rest of the Don Callis family attacked him. Had a 3-man beatdown with Lance Archer, Brian Cage, and Kyle Fletcher. That is a match I'm interested in. Kyle Fletcher versus Kenny Omega. That should be a pretty interesting match, and seeing Kenny Omega and Kyle Fletcher have a rivalry would be kind of interesting. I mean, it wouldn't be much different from a Will Ospreay match, but I'd like to see what Kenny Omega and Kyle Fletcher could actually produce together as a team in a one-on-one match, and see if they could actually reproduce or make it even better than what Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher did. But as this attack went on, eventually Will Ospreay came down to the ring. These two are actually enemies. So yeah, and he made the save though to protect Kenny Omega. Obviously Will Ospreay has a problem with Don Callis as well, and Kyle Fletcher. So it all makes sense. I imagine that we'll see Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega in a tag team match against members of the of the Don Callis family, whether it's a 2-on-3 match or a 3-on-3 where Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega get a third partner. If that's even the case, nor do I really give a shit. But yeah, again, like I said, and that's how the show went off the air, with a stare down between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. And like I said, I honestly didn't give a shit about this show. This show sucked. This was a very, very boring fucking show that I just have no interest in. I'm just here producing content for you guys because I've done enough where I've spent enough time not giving you guys the content. And I'm pretty much fed up with this product. This product is going nowhere. Do I like the wrestling? Do I like the wrestlers? Yes, I do. But give me some fucking story here. Give me something to latch on to. Give me a reason to want to keep tuning in. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time here. I feel bored. I don't feel like I'm being insulted or anything, but I just do feel, I feel like there's nothing going on. There's no substance to these shows. It's just, it's there and that's it. Whoop-de-fucky-do. There gotta be a little bit more than just, hey, we're here and now we're gone. 2 hours have passed and we're done. Thanks for coming. And thanks for watching. Come on, man. You gotta give more to this shit. If you're not gonna do that, then don't even be on television, in my personal opinion. But that's just my viewpoint, guys. That's all I have to say at this time. You know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.